Hello, friends. I am here with my good friend, Taylor Nowlin. She not only is an amazing human in the world, but she's also a extremely fast trail runner. She's a two-time Western States top 10 finisher. She's been top 10 at CCC, UTMB's 100K distance, and top 10 at OCC, the 50K distance at UTMB. And I will never forget when she ran a super speedy speed goat 50K, just 90 seconds back from Ruth Croft. I was in that race much further back, but I just am such a fan of Taylor. She's a mom of beautiful twins that are now 8 months old, also an ICU nurse, and she has the best laugh. Taylor, how are you?
I'm good. I'm so happy to be here with you. I admire you so much. I feel like I'll wake up in the morning and just tell myself I have the same 24 hours in a day as Rachel Drake, so I can do anything. And to get to actually sit down and chat with you is such a gift.
Oh, it's just going to be fun to catch up. I feel like we've had some good touch points over the years at races and Taylor, are you from Portland or
Yeah, I grew up in
okay.
West Lynn.
Yeah, so Taylor's from Portland, so when she went back to visit her parents, I would get to see her sometimes. I think we went for a run when I was a little bit postpartum with Lewis and your mom hiked with Lewis. So, yeah. I kind of want to just dive right in. I just like I think your story's really fascinating and I'm excited that you just had your first race. Or what was that your first?
Yeah, no, okay, technically no, because I did a skimo race here in Spokane like a month prior. But yeah, that was my first running race.
First running race at the Canyons 25K, one of the UTMB series races, and she was second just 8 months after giving birth to twins, which just blows my mind. I kind of want to fast forward even further back to the time when you and Chris, your husband, were wanting to have children and just how your kind of career as an athlete and as a healthcare professional like factored into that and what you guys were thinking about as you tried to navigate that big change.
Oh man, it's been so tricky. I mean, I think early on when I met Chris, we've been together for like 4 years now. We decided that we wanted kids. That had always kind of been in the cards, and I think it took a while for us to kind of like get settled in life and figure out our jobs. And once we got to a really stable spot and we like purchased a house, we kind of hit this point where we're like, okay, I think we're ready to like take this next step. Who knows like how long it's going to take? I feel like there's always such a mystery with family planning because you just don't know like what the timeline's going to be, but I kind of think for me at least, like I was in a really good stable spot in my job and he had just finished getting hired on with the city of Spokane's fire department, so like his job had kind of started to like slow and settle down. And in the meantime, I feel like I kind of wanted a new like challenge in my running life. I I feel like I'd had a lot of like really fun years of training and was ready to like step back, do something different, gain a whole new appreciation, like with a little bit of distance from it. And yeah, I feel like the timing just kind of like worked out life wise. And then we actually got pregnant pretty quick.
Nice. That's awesome. So it wasn't necessarily like something you were trying to plan, but you just realized like, okay, we know we want this. We're in a good place. Let's just see what happens.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, I think I was like trying to be casual about it and telling myself like it's not a big deal, but and I feel like this is true for a lot of people who like want to become pregnant. Like once you start kind of trying, it's like all you can think about. And that was totally me. So yeah, it took us about like 4 months and then I got pregnant and I was really excited. And finding out actually was a really crazy experience. I haven't talked to you about this, but um Chris was not with me at the ultrasound appointment where we found out was having twins. He was actually in
Oh,
Moab on a climbing trip that he'd planned like a while before and was only available through like the Garmin InReach. So I went to the appointment. I convinced him like, no, still go on this trip, but like I really just want to know that like the baby's okay. Like I'll just do this first checkup. It's like not a big deal. You go on your climbing trip. My mom will be in town. She'll come with me. She'll love that. And like right when the ultrasound tech was like pulling up the two little dots, I remember being like, I don't know how to read these. So like, this probably
oh,
isn't what
there's
I
two
think it is.
things
And she's
there.
like, you're having twins. And I literally asked her like, is this a joke? Like, are you joking? And she was like, no, I would never joke about that. And I kind of freaked out. And my mom was like, I'm always going to have one to hold. She was ecstatic. Yeah. And so then I basically had to like send Chris a message on the Garmin and be like, hey, babe, can you like nothing to worry about? Everything went great, but like, can you just drive into like cell phone service so like we can just chat? And he did. And then I was like, okay, there's two, not one.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, it was
Were you,
crazy.
did you have any feeling like before, or was it just like totally
No, it
surprise?
was, I mean, this is so true, but it was quite honestly the biggest surprise of my life. I did not see it coming at all. Yeah, I was very,
Wow.
very shocked and just like really intimidated. And then like the more time went by, the more I was like, this will be a good thing. This is great. They'll play with each other. It'll be so sweet. But at first it was like really intimidating.
Yeah. Yeah. And then I know, towards the end of your pregnancy, you ended up having to go on bed rest, right?
Yeah, I went on bed rest at like 32 weeks pregnant. I had to leave work. My OB like was like, you can no longer work 12-hour shifts at about 30 weeks.
Okay.
And then I mean my whole pregnancy, since it was like high risk monodi twins, they had me visiting maternal fetal medicine like quite a bit. The girls had some complications. So I yeah, I frequented the hospital a lot.
Yeah. Can you explain to our listeners what monodi twins means?
Yeah, so that means that the babies share a placenta, but then they're in two different amniotic sacs, and they had a kind of rare complication that was linked to that called TAPS, twin anemia polycythemia sequence, where basically like within the placenta, since they're sharing a blood supply, sometimes it can be shared unequally. So one of the twins got really anemic, and then the other one got really polycythemic, and that can, I think it has like over 90% mortality if it goes untreated. Um, so that was like kind of a scary point in the pregnancy. I ended up getting a laser ablation that basically like cauterized all those connections between the girls on the placenta, and they ended up being totally fine. But it was pretty nerve wracking, especially for like a first pregnancy. But yeah, I had that laser procedure done at like 20 weeks. And then after that, we just kind of like followed really closely. And then it got, yeah, a little bit more normal. And then, yeah, like I said, I kind of stopped working at 30 weeks. And then at 32, went on bed rest. I also had preeclampsia. So I just had like all sorts of complications.
I think
um,
it's just like so
Crazy.
important to talk about because I think a lot of times pregnancy just gets painted in this light of everything's perfect and isn't this lovely and aren't I glowing? And it's like, no, it can be really, really scary and vulnerable and hard.
Yeah, I feel like that's so true. And like honestly, going in, I just really expected that like, oh, I'm such a fit, active person, like I'll have a really healthy pregnancy. I didn't ever expect like any complications to come of it. I thought I'd be able to like run the whole time and be super active, and it was really interesting to realize like, okay, this isn't my reality. This is actually like kind of a scary situation. I might lose like one or both of my little daughters. And yeah, it was nerve-wracking, and it's easy to talk about because now we're like on the other side of it. But I think for a while we were kind of living in a little bit of a bubble of like, this is really stressful. Like we're trying to be really optimistic, but at the same time recognizing like the reality of the situation that like anything could happen.
Yeah. Yeah. How was it as someone who's so used to moving their body and working in the ICU, a very stimulating place? How was it being on bed rest for that long?
It was, man, it was so hard. It was so weird. I think like I mean, very early on, I feel like I was humbled like pretty early on in this pregnancy to like completely reset my expectations. Like I remember I think like pretty early like first trimester, I would go on runs and I just had to pee like every 800 meters and I'd be on these like a couple mile runs away from my house and I'd be popping into like every alley and just like going pee and I was like I'm how am I going to run? How am I going to train? Like this is horrible. This is not what I expected out of like my, my running goals and dreams as a pregnant person. Um, so I think by the time I actually got put on bed rest, like I'd already been through so much and so much like modifications that I kind of like set aside that like athlete mindset of I don't know, thinking about like, okay, I have to stay really fit right now. And I was like, you know what? Who cares about my fitness at this point? Like, I'll get it back. I've got plenty of time to do that. I'm not worried about it. I just want like healthy little kids. And so like if I have to lay in bed all day and I like lose all my muscle mass, like so be it. I don't even really care at this point.
Quick break to thank Osprey for sponsoring this episode of the show. Osprey has been a leading maker of premium outdoor backpacks and bags for over 50 years. There are many reasons I turned to Osprey, but one is because of their pillars of sourcing sustainable materials. By incorporating recycled and Blue Sign approved materials into their products, they're helping to keep harmful chemicals out of our environment. Osprey has eliminated PFAS-based durable water repellent in 100% of their textile products, and as of fall 2024, 100% of Osprey's products have 100% recycled content in the lining fabric, and 99% of Osprey's products have 100% recycled content in the main body fabric. Osprey continues to reduce environmental impacts and produce more sustainably designed products every year. This is the type of company I want to support, and I know you do too. Learn more at osprey.com. Now back to the show.
I'm curious how, if at all, like your sponsors responded to everything you were going through. And I know you have, several sponsors, but what was that like as a professional athlete, like telling your managers of your various sponsors that you were pregnant?
I feel like they were really supportive. I, to be honest, was like a little, I mean, it's nerve wracking to tell people like, regardless. And so I can't remember exactly like when I decided to share that news. I went to team camp with Terex like pretty early on in my first trimester. And so I remembered talking to them like before I ever hit the 12-week mark, which I was pretty comfortable with at the time. But I definitely kind of had to like hype myself up for it. And I just remember talking to our team manager and her being like so supportive and especially saying, hey, going forward, like don't feel any pressure to like return to racing on any certain timeline or, we're here for you with whatever you need. But I feel like they were really good and not like setting any expectations or like having any pressure for me to like come back at a certain speed, which was really helpful.
That's so good. I feel like it wasn't long ago when the exact opposite were true. Like, I don't know,
Absolutely.
10, 15 years ago. So
Yeah.
that's just so cool to hear.
Yeah. It's definitely really refreshing because I remember all of the stuff coming up in the news with like female athletes like losing contracts because of pregnancies and that's scary and it's really refreshing and relaxing to have like the opposite response of companies being like this is great, we're so happy for you to like expand your family and bring some more members onto the team. And I've definitely
Two new
yeah,
members.
yeah. So, two new members. Actually, our team manager sent me like pretty early on these like little matching Adidas pink like track suits. And so I would like dress the girls in pink track suits for such a long time and take them to things. And I love dressing the twins matching, especially in like athleisure. It's so fun.
That's adorable. Oh my goodness. The other thing I wanted to touch on was just like your postpartum recovery and like, I mean, I don't know if there's anything you want to share about like the birth experience. We don't have to go into that if you don't want to, but yeah, just either immediate postpartum and how you kind of navigated your return to run.
Yeah. I mean, I can definitely talk about the birth experience.
Oh yeah, let's do it.
Let's get right into it. So I thought I was going to have like a completely natural birth. That was like my game plan. And like, I can't remember exactly when, but I remember my OB being like, that's not going to happen for you. Like, you're going to have C-section. You don't really have a choice. Like, one of your daughters is really small, and it's just like not going to be an option. This is the healthiest way to deliver both babies. And so I kind of switched my mindset from like, okay, I'm like preparing for birth and I'm going to like go through all these classes and learn all these breathing techniques and body positions and all the things, to being like, oh, I'm having a C-section. My job is like just to lay there and like stay calm basically, and like have a positive mindset. I don't know. And so I like didn't really do any planning or any like preparation. And I think no, I completely underestimated how difficult it is to recover from a C-section. Like, I feel like it's just such a casual thing in our society to like have a C-section and birth children that way. But it's like major surgery. And it was not easy for me to recover from. The recovery part wasn't even something I like planned for or like really thought about afterwards. I don't know. Like, but it was pretty tough for me. Like, the girls were in the NICU for like 2 and 3 weeks, like after they were born. And so when I got discharged, we'd like spend time at home, and then we were just going back and forth to like the hospital all the time. And I can't even remember. I think it was like the first week plus, like I couldn't even walk from like where we parked the car into the hospital to like go see them. That was like too many steps for me. I was too uncomfortable at that point in time. So yeah, I definitely underestimated like how difficult that recovery is. It was really helpful that I have family that came up from Portland and just like helped take care, and Chris's family helped too, to just like take care of stuff around our house. But I mean, yeah, I eventually was able to get to the NICU and just like walk on my own. And I think I started like actually running a little bit after like the 6-week mark. I remember doing like some power walking, and every once in a while I'd be like on a crosswalk and a car would be coming, and I would be like, I think I'm going to jog across this. And I remember that feeling like such a huge deal at the time. I started working with a strength and conditioning coach, which I feel like I never did before I had babies. And I feel like that has actually helped like a huge amount. I was never really consistent with strength, and now I do it really diligently. And I think that's for sure helped me like rebuild my core and like gain back a lot of the strength that I lost during pregnancy with like bed rest and all the things. And also I feel like postpartum, I'm sure you would like agree with this, but you just end up having a lot less time. So I feel like I have to be super efficient with the time that I do have, and like I have to get the most bang for my buck out of all of the training that I do. So a little bit of strength training and like a lot more speed work and like focused efforts than I did before have been like super helpful, I think, in helping me get back to fitness.
Was the strength and conditioning something that you just felt like you needed as you were building back, or did someone suggest that to you? How did you nail that down?
I actually reached out to one of my college teammates, who is a strength and conditioning coach in Boulder, Jocelyn Corridor. I know she was just on the Subhub podcast, actually.
Oh, yeah.
She's amazing. And we've been talking for a long time about like, we really got to get a more like formal kind of relationship going, where like I actually, work with you and do strength and conditioning. And when I was coming back after the babies, I just felt like I had all these like new weaknesses and issues that I never really like noticed before. Like running just felt so wonky. And I wanted to make sure that I didn't like ramp up my volume too fast and get injured or something. So I just kind of started like reaching out to her, and we started really gradual with really small stuff. And we've recently added in a lot of like pelvic floor work, because I thought that I was immune and didn't need to do any work on my pelvic floor, and that was great because I didn't have vaginal delivery. But as it turns out, that was not the case. And I did need some help. So yeah, I think working with Joss has been like really helpful. I definitely feel like way stronger than I did before, just like in a very different way.
What was your philosophy for like building back mileage? Are you still working with Paul Lind?
Yeah. Still working
Okay,
with Paul.
cool.
I mean, we kind of work together mostly just based on like how much free time I have. And it's a very different picture now than it was before kids. I kind of told him early on that my goals were just sort of to focus on like smaller, faster races, try and like get some speed back. I spent the last couple of years before getting pregnant doing 100 milers, and I kind of felt like I just was ready to switch gears and do something different. And that also worked well with kind of like my other life constraints. So Paul has been great about kind of condensing like my training load and focusing a lot more on speed and like quicker effort. So it's been really fun to like get on the track and just do quicker stuff. I love to like mix it up. I feel like I do this every few years, and like my running career, I just get bored of one distance and then need like a new challenge. And so now my new challenge is trying to do like 20Ks and 30Ks.
Awesome. Yeah, it's fun to think about too, your history as a Division 1 college runner at Oregon State doing the steeplechase.
Oh
Are
my
you feeling
gosh.
like you're getting some flashbacks getting back on the track?
No, definitely. Actually, I have started doing some track workouts at a community college that's like, it's a perfect warm up distance away from our house. It's like a 15-minute jog away. And I was out there the other day, and they had their steeplechase barriers out, and there was no water in the pit, but I jumped over one just to like see what it was like. And I felt like I should have stretched more beforehand. I was like, woo, those muscles don't like bend like that anymore.
Yeah. Let's not forget Taylor Nowlin is not only a fast 100-mile runner, but she's a fast short distance ultra runner.
Hopefully. That's what I aspire to be able to do both. I feel like I don't quite have like the leg speed yet. Maybe you can speak to this postpartum. Like, how long do you feel like it took you after having Lou to like come back and be like feel quick again?
I think it took doing a marathon, like a road marathon training cycle. And maybe if I had done that earlier, it would have been better. But
Yeah.
I ran CIM.
Oh
So
yeah.
Lewis was born in September, and then I ran CIM the next year. So it was like 15, I would say it was about a year before I
Yeah.
felt like, ooh, I'm fast again. Um, but I wasn't exactly really trying. Like before that training block, I hadn't run um, a single mile under 6 minute pace. And then running CIM, that's what I ran like the marathon in. So it's
Nice.
just kind of interesting. Like it really does come back. And I like something I love to talk about is just the physiology of pregnancy is actually really good for running.
I
Like
feel like
it's
the mom strength is a thing. It makes sense. And then when you live it, you're like, oh yeah, I do feel like I've got a little more like blood volume to work with here.
yes, it's like your engine is super powerful and you just got to make sure you do the strength stuff to make sure that your chassis doesn't break on you like it
Yeah.
did on me. So I'm taking notes from you on how to build back correctly.
Well, I'm trying to just like take it super easy. I feel like it's so easy to have like so much stoke that you can like do things again, that I feel like the temptation is very much there to like run all the miles and do all the things that you have time and energy for. Um, but I feel like Paul has actually been really good about like kind of reining me in that sense, and like you don't have to run this many miles. Like I still feel like I'm pretty like low mileage compared to what I what I was. Like I maybe only
Hmm.
run like 30-ish miles a week.
Wow.
But I
And
like
what
I
were
feel
you
like I make the
before?
most, like 50 to 70 depending on like where I was at in a training block. But I don't really feel like I'm like missing out that much, because now I'm like trying to focus on smaller efforts, and it's just really
Hmm.
interesting to see like what can you do with like different amounts of mileage. Like yeah.
Still crush is the answer, it seems. I think that's a really cool, important lesson. Like, not necessarily applying your specific numbers to someone else's case, but even just saying like half of what you were doing before, you can still accomplish a lot with that, with consistency and strength. And
I feel like it's interesting because I run a lot less miles, but I put in a lot more time. Like I bet my total time is like around the same, maybe just a little bit less. But so much, like the ratios have totally changed. Now it's just like way more strength work and way more of like the little things that I would always neglect before, and less miles. But it's interesting because I feel like hopefully a lot more like resilient from injuries. And it's definitely created this like new level of excitement for me to just change up the pace a little bit.
Awesome. That's so cool. I also wanted to ask how your firstborn Libe, your sweet dog, was handling all the changes around your house.
Oh my gosh, she's doing so much better than expected. I feel like she embraced the babies like pretty early on. We have had to tell her so many times, like, you just get no licking on the mouth, like no licking on the mouth, because she goes right in and they just like, they open their mouths and they're like, yeah, go ahead. And so you just have to like prevent that whole situation from happening. That's what was the case like early on. And now they are like starting solid foods, which is, as you know, just incredibly messy. And Libe is living her best life because they're just throwing applesauce on the walls and dropping muffin crumbs on the ground. And the dog is just like at their feet, picking everything up. And she loves it. She's definitely gaining weight at a very, very quick rate. So I think we're going to have to put her back on some kind of diet to make up for this before she gets too chunky to run with us. But she loves them. Although they do, I think, sometimes love her a little too much. They like to grab her dog hair. That's like a new thing for them. They'll just like roll over each other to get to her and grab like handfuls of her hair and just pull them out. But she doesn't even like mind that. Like she kind of doesn't like it. But I think she puts up with it because she knows that they're going to barf on the carpet or something and then she can lick it. And it's like this symbiotic relationship they have.
It really is. And it's good for you too, because then you have less of a mess to clean up.
I know. I vacuum probably a lot less because the dog just like eats all the crumbs that fall on the floor. And I appreciate that.
That's amazing.
Do you guys have that with Teddy and Loris?
Oh yeah, for sure. I remember when he started eating, I was like, oh, this actually works out well. I don't need to like worry about messes because Teddy will just take care of it.
Yeah. I have had to intervene a couple times because Libe will get a little too emboldened and like I'll take them out of their high chairs and she'll get up on them and start like licking the trays and licking like the bibs. And that's kind of like where I drew the line.
It's a bit much, Libe.
Yeah. I was like, okay, slow down, girlfriend. Like you already got some pretty good ground scores, but now I feel like we're just getting greedy.
Teddy will just take stuff out of Lewis's hand too. One of my co-residents was watching Teddy and she has 2 little boys and one of them, who's a baby, was sitting on the floor eating a cracker. And she said Teddy just came over and gently took it out of his hand. And then the kid looks over and it's gone. And he's just like, I swear there was a cracker here a second ago.
Well, I think they have like a sixth sense that like you're not paying attention to them anymore. So they might be able to like get away with some more things. Like we were at a potluck the other day and Chris said that Libe just like walked up to some kid because I was like holding both babies. And Libe just walked up to this kid and took a bite out of his pizza and then walked away. And he was like, no one noticed, but I saw it.
That is hilarious.
They were like, ooh, that's not great. But also, oh well.
Oh my gosh, that reminds me at Western States, I think 2023, you ran that year. Yeah, I think you were 6th in 2023.
Yeah, that was my
we had Teddy and he was walking past someone and they had a cheeseburger and Teddy just took the entire thing.
No.
Yes.
Like, I'm so sorry. I'll buy you a new one.
Yeah, we've had to do that a lot. Oh man.
That's so funny. I'm glad we put in like a good amount of training with her like before we had kids. Because now she has like pretty decent manners. It's slid a little bit, but yeah, I she's just such a goober.
Okay, just a super quick pause in our conversation, guys. You know that we work with John G on the podcast. They're a big fan of us. We're a big fan of them. I've been wearing a lot of their products on my trail runs recently, and I'm loving the Women's Sun Chaser 50 hooded long sleeve shirt. It's got a 50 plus UPF rating, which is super important to me, especially being in SoCal where the sun rays are a lot hotter here. I also don't love wearing sunscreen all the time, so it gives me the ability to cover my upper body without always being covered in sunscreen or having to reapply it. But I've been loving the fabric. It's super breathable and wicking, and so far, super impressed with it. So if you guys are looking for a sun hoodie for the summer as we get into the warmer day adventures, I totally recommend it. You can get 10% off of your John G order with the code Trail Network. All right, back to our episode.
Okay, I was stalking your Ultra Sign Up because I wanted to see,
Oh my gosh.
what else is she doing? And I know Ultra Sign Up doesn't have anything, but I saw you're doing Leavenworth Trail Fest in like a week.
Okay, so that was the plan, but one of my really good friends from Spokane's baby showers that weekend, actually. And I found it out
Was it
later.
Kayla?
No, but
So many
hers is later.
babies.
Yeah, I'll be at that
Okay.
baby shower too. But this is a different friend, so I'm gonna have to back out of that race, which I'm so bummed about. For the longest time, I've been like, how can I like race in Leavenworth, just run really fast, not even shower, get in the car, drive back to Spokane, go to the baby shower? But I don't think the timing works out, so I'm gonna have to miss that one. So I think my next race is going to be Broken Arrow. I would love to go do something before that. Scheduling conflicts have kind of been an issue, but yeah, I think next thing on the docket is Broken Arrow, which I'm like really excited for.
That'll be awesome. The 23K, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So that's the Golden Trail World Series distance, which is super cool because we get great competition.
Oh my gosh.
Right here. Yeah.
Yeah. I feel like the last few years I've been watching the live streams of Broken Arrow, and just it's already such a cool race, but now to see even more like attention on it and more people attending is like, I feel like the hype is only like going up, you know?
Yeah. Have you thought about doing like a complete Golden Trail season?
I would really, really love to. I think, yeah, I have definitely considered it. I feel like it involves like in order to really do it, I feel like you have to make it abroad a few times. And that is the part that's been kind of difficult for me. Like if I could complete a season and only go abroad like once, I think that would be a little more feasible. But yeah.
Yeah. Maybe it's like 2 or 3 times if you include the final.
Which is, yeah, I think that has kind of been a hurdle for me. But it's something that I would love to do if I could figure out how to swing it.
I think Broken Arrow will really suit you as well, because I think you do super well on like you have good leg speed, short and fast, but you also do really well on steep ups and steep downs. So I'm really, really pumped to see you throw down.
I am really excited. I feel like both the races it's just going to be so stacked. So I think that'll be that's definitely going to be the first like really big competitive race that I've like thrown myself into postpartum. So I think that's going to be really interesting. But yeah, I'm just like so excited to be able to get back out there regardless of what that looks like.
Yeah. It's really like such a treat, especially when you've been away for so long. You're like just being able to race is such a gift.
It really is. Yeah. I feel like I've had the luxury for a really long time in my running career to not like get injured and be forced out of the sport. And being pregnant has been like, since I became a professional runner, the longest time that I've ever stepped away. So yeah, I definitely feel that it's such a gift. And I think, taking some time away really like gives you a lot of moments to think about how much of a gift it really is.
And then the other one I saw was the North Bend Trail Fest in October.
The North Bend Trail Fest. Yeah, I'm going to do, they have a little vert running series. That's where I got the Leavenworth run too.
Nice.
And I'm going to try and just jump into as many of those races as I can. Some of my friends here in Spokane put on this race called the Can. That's on our local Mount Spokane. Kayla and David, you know them. So I'm going to try and jump in that too. I feel like especially with little kiddos, it's so much easier to just do the local races and like really throw down at like the small local stuff. So I'm just fully leaning into that this season.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Anything else you got on the docket you're looking forward to with the kids, with running, with work?
Oh man. I'm excited to just continue to get a little bit better at like traveling with the girlies. I think it would be so fun to like take them on an international trip. Right now, the furthest we've made it is Texas, and that was like a journey. We had quite a few like airplane
Oh
meltdowns,
boy.
but I would really love, I don't know if this is going to pan out this season, but I really want to do speed goat, like jump in the 50K, and like I don't have any tickets into the UTMB races, but I saw that on the Speedgo site, if you're like top 3, you can get into OCC. So I feel like that would be potentially a really fun summer plan to like try and bring the whole fam to Chamonix if I can make that happen for us.
You are more than welcome to stay at our place. And
I
we
would
have
love
extra cribs and stuff, so you don't have to bring like a pack and play. We got a mini crib and a pack and play, so you can. Yeah, we got everything here, Tay. Just come on
You guys are
down.
so set. I would love that.
Awesome. Well, this has been so fun. I just love catching up with you, and I'm just so inspired by everything you've been doing. And yeah, just love ya.
I love you too. And I'm so happy that we got to chat. It's been, yeah, such a gift. Let's do this more often.
Yeah, for sure. See ya.
Bye.